Right, good morning, welcome back. Now in the last video on this beautiful Ultra Limited, we dealt with the blown rear wheel bearings, which we traced down to that rusty centre tube that must have migrated some of its rust particles into the bearings and then nature took its course. So I machined the rust off the tube itself, greased it up thoroughly and replaced the wheel bearings, and that was the first main job ticked off the list. Now the second job on my list was to replace the worn out rear brake pads, and on a bike like this, they actually don't last that long. So if you know your Harleys, this being an Ultra Limited, it comes with the massive tour pack. That's an enormous top box and all the passenger furniture. And with two people fully loaded, one of these weighs over 700 kilos. That's an awful lot of weight. So you can imagine the poor old brake pads have got their work cut out. And this guy likes to put a new set in every season. Now this particular job you can actually do on the jiffy stand. You don't need to stand it upright. You just need the seat off, the side panel off, and the right hand pannier box off, and it gives you all the access you need. Okay, if you worked on modern Harleys before, you'll know that they're not always SAE fasteners, they're not always imperial, they are sometimes metric as well. You need to be careful with the tools you're using so you don't strip things out. And the calipers, they're no exception. As you can see, they're badged with the Bar and Shield logo, so we can't really tell who makes them, but it could be Brembo, it could be Nissin, it could be any of those companies, which means they're European or Japanese, therefore metric fasteners. Now the first of those fasteners to undo is the one that holds the brake pads into the caliper, because it's quite tight. You need to just crack that free first, because once you've got the caliper off and in your hand, it's quite tricky to then break that free while you're holding it with the other hand. So while it's still held in the bike, like a bit of a jig, you can crack that free, then take the others off and release the caliper. And as you can see there, this is the little pin that goes through the top of the two brake pads and holds them in place. So it's that fastener there first that we've got to crack free, and it is 5mm metric. Yep, that's what it needs. Just break it free. Make sure it's moving. That's good. These three bolts here, we don't touch those at all. They're the caliper body bolts that actually hold the caliper halves together. Don't touch them, we're not doing that today. What we do need to undo though is these two. They hold the caliper onto the carrier and they're 8mm metric. Take them both out completely. There's a little plastic clip just here that holds the brake hose to the ABS feed wire. Just take that off so that when you lift the caliper out, that doesn't pull on the ABS wire, which is quite fragile. Just put that safely out the way. When you go to pull your caliper off, sometimes it might not want to come because the pads have got ridges in and they're gripping hold of the disc. They're only a fraction away from it. So just twist the caliper very slightly and that works the pads back a little bit, then you can lift it off. There we are. Straight off. There. The next thing to lift out is this little safety clip. Let's get a screwdriver under it and just lift it out. Now at this point, don't be tempted to put a massive screwdriver blade in between the old trashed pads that are going in the bin and lever them back to push the pistons back to make room for your new pads, because what you're doing is pushing the dirty pistons back in through the seals, and we're going to clean them before we push them back, and for that we need these old pads out of the way. So just drop them out. And to do that, just need to remove that pin we pre-loosened just now. There it is. And then just gently lever them down one at a time like that, and they'll pull out the back like that, and that's exactly how you put the new ones back in. Right, get some catch paper in there and let's give these a clean. Bit of decent brake cleaner and give it the bejesus. There we go. There, better out than in. Now before you go pushing the pistons back to accommodate the newer, thicker pads, just take the cap off your reservoir, because if somebody well-meaning has topped it up thinking it's a bit low, then it will be full, and when you push the pistons back it will try and overflow. So just take the cap off, because it should be about half down, and when you push them back it should come back up to full level. That's how it works. Right, now as I suspected, as you can see, that fluid is up to the top, exact top of the sight glass, which means it's full. So if I push those pistons back now, that's almost going to overflow. So I'm going to take a little bit of that out, and then when the pistons are back and the pads are in and they're fitted and everything's at the right level, then I'll set the level in the reservoir. Just soak a load of it up and lift it out. And it won't spill over. Now there's an army of these on the market, just a brake caliper spreader. Just put the two paddles in between the pistons, turn the handle and it spreads them back, and keep an eye on the fluid as you do so. Just turn the screw, it gently pushes them back, no drama. All the way in until they touch. Perfect. And have a look in there. The fluid has returned back to the top of that sight glass, exactly where it was before I drained it out. So that is quite important. Right, clean up the slide pin. Now these fit really nicely in this particular caliper. Use your common sense, they are handed. It's obvious which ones go which side. Just push it in the back first and then snap it up into place. Then go to the inner one, back first, and then snap it up into place. And then pop the pin through both pads and into its keep the other side. Give it just a quarter of a turn, just to hold it in place. And then apply a little bit of anti-seize as you screw it in. Not too much. And it's not a big thread, so just nip it. That's all it needs. Now this pin you've just put through has got a little tiny ridge just down there. You take this clip, you put it down on top of the pin and snap it into place over that little ridge. It sits there and it will stop the pin undoing itself. Okay, with plenty of room between your pads, nice and wide apart, drop them gently over the disc, pop the bolts in, tighten them up. Right, with the pistons pushed all the way back, now pump the brake pedal and pump the pads out so they touch the disc before you go for your test ride, obviously, and make sure that your fluid doesn't drop down so low that you introduce air into your system, because you've got ABS on these bikes and that would be a difficult day ahead. There. Perfect. There, done. There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, there we go. Now we make these jobs as a single standalone piece of content. Brake pads, Harley Davidson Ultra rear. So you can find them if you want to do that on your bike. So we'll put this particular video in 2 playlists, one marked mechanical and servicing and one titled with this bike itself. So if you've got one of these bikes, all the videos pertaining to this bike will be in that particular playlist on the channel. So there we are. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Take it easy, ride safe, and we'll see you next time.